We're just talking about ideals and laws. I heard it from Colin, and I also heard it from the esteemed. Where are you from? Belize? Oh, you sound Belizean. Um, and he was talking about in his presentation, he was talking about the letter of the law. And lots of times, you know, you're talking about the letter of the law there and so forth. In religion, at least when we used to study it seriously, and how we handled all these difficult things, there was developed something called the doctrine of casuistry. It's really a legal term. It's more legal than anything else. And when I heard you talking, I think you forgot it, both of you. You see, the principle is there, but the whole idea of going to court to make a case is to say the doctrine of casuistry goes, you preach the principle and you maintain it. And no Christian minister has any authority to preach, as far as I'm concerned, anything else but the principle, because he's preaching what's delivered. However, what you preach, you can counsel differently, and she just said it, because you have your principles and you have your reality. So the doctrine of casuistry commanded you to preach the principle and counsel the reality. Let me give you an example of that. And I'm just going to, there are 10 commandments. So one says, thou shalt not commit adultery, and one says, thou shalt not kill. Are you with me? I'm coming back to this. So you have to preach both of them. But if a man and a woman come into you, and the woman say that he gonna kill me, I hope you'll counsel her to get the hell out of the house. In other words, that's where you move the things around. It says thou shalt not kill, but you lawyer know there are 5 or 6 different levels of killing. That's where casuistry comes in. And this I know to be fact. There's first-degree murder with circumstances, first-degree murder, this, and it comes all the way down to nothing. What has happened is we have been mixing the categories and playing games and forgetting that you really can't organize a society without holding up the principles. And then you have to realize that these other things are there. That's how I handle my daughter. My daughter, I still am going to go and preach what I believe. And I'm going to still love her till death and take her money. And it's so easy to do, I don't know what the problem is. I believe that there's no contradiction between saying that marriage is between a man and a woman and you're making other arrangements. From the time of history, it has been a man and a woman. Why in God's name are you going to change the language and the whole concept? If it's a new thing, you're introducing a new thing by fiat, call it by a bad one new name. Come up with a name for it and let us get accustomed to that when a man, you see, because a gay man can marry a regular woman. A gay man, I'm gay, I could marry you.
No thanks.
I know. I know you won't marry me, because actually if you marry me, you might be happy. But but apart from you know, just having a little fun. Let's have a little fun with it. But technically, you see, because your argument, you see, because you mix the categories. If marriage is between a man and a woman, right? You're gay, so you can marry a woman, and lots of them did. The bishop up in New Hampshire was married. He said he was gay, but he was married to a woman for many years and had 3 children. So marriage could still be between a man and a woman, and then you come up with something else and you make us understand, but it needs a new name. That's one thing. Now, the other thing I want to say is, and this is going to be very harsh in a way, but it's also historically true. Every culture that has accepted gay thing and brought it to the center has destroyed itself. No, it's not because of gayness. It's because of something else. And for you who are pastors, I want you to go and read Genesis chapter 13. It's a story about Lot and Abraham. The story of Lot and Abraham is very, very interesting. But it is taking you to the doctrine, to the understanding of hedonism. And let me explain this to you, because it has nothing per se to do with gays. But you all better pay attention to this stuff, because every culture that has done it has collapsed on itself. because the people believe that they come together just to love and have happiness, and when you do the sexual act, it ends with the climax, without no consequence of life. And I'm going to stop this by telling you all a joke, and then I'm getting out of here because I have another appointment. But if you look at the story, Lot, Abraham was visited first by two angels. You remember that? And they were well received. They left and they went down to Lot. But let me tell you, go back to chapter 13 to see why Lot was where he was. Abraham took his son, his brother's child, because he was his nephew, and they went together and became very wealthy all over the world. Then they came back to the place and they were fighting one another for things. Abraham called Lot and said, listen to me, we don't need to fight each other. I just have this thing. Look at this great thing here. You take half, I take half. If you go to the right, I'll take the right. If you go to the left, whatever, because we're not going to fight. Read it. The young boy whom his uncle had befriended, who was a hedonist, he looked and he saw where life was easy. He looked and he saw where there was water, where he didn't have to dig no well, where he didn't have to do anything, and he chose that, and put his old uncle to battle it out in the hills with scrubby grass. But that was also where Sodom and Gomorrah was. Not Sodom and Gomorrah in terms of what my daughter does, but Sodom and Gomorrah in terms of people wanting, without understanding the seriousness of life. If two women are going to have children, it has to be by an arrangement of science and by fiat. In other words, my daughter has two children, and I love them both. One is named Jonah, and one is named, what the other one named? Vera. The daughter is adopted straight up. The son was born, she married a Jewish lady from New York. Two lawyers, big lawyers, making $1 million. That's why I can get 10,000 of them a month. Sure. The Jewish lady went and got a Jamaican to impregnate her, so that the baby's kind of right between them. The day the baby was to be born, my wife went to the hospital for the delivery. My daughter came in with a lawyer and a briefcase and made her sign a paper, fiat. When I made my baby, I didn't have to do none of that. You have to do things beyond what's natural or whatever. I believe that fundamentally, when God established it for family, naturally, a man and a woman together and babies, so that when we die, someone carries on. If they're going to have children, they have to mix it up. They have to get a lot to help them. They have to fiat it. You know, fiat is F-I-A-T. You have to go with your lawyers and write up something, some sort of paper to make it real. Whereas it's not so when you do it normally. I'm going to tell you a joke. And it's not really a joke. And a Jewish man told me this about 30 years ago, when this thing was bubbling up and I knew it couldn't be right. He said, you know, the world was destroyed by a nuclear bomb. Everything was destroyed. And God came down from heaven. He was very, very angry. Very angry. Because everything was destroyed. But miraculously, he found two old men who survived. One was a Jew and one was Muslim. And he called them together and said, look what you did to my world, especially you, Jew. I blessed you. I gave you everything you wanted. I told you to take care of my world. And look what you did. But I'm a gracious God. So let me tell you something. I'm going to give you all 3 wishes. But I want to tell you, Jew, that whatever you ask for, I am going to give the Muslim twice as much. So the Jew said, yes, Lord. Please give me 100 acres of beautiful land with water, just like what Lot's beautiful. Say, yeah, right there. But right over there, he's getting 200 acres. And Lord, give me 100 young women who could have children. Wouldn't say, yeah. But he's going to get 2. and saying, Lord, take away one of my testicles. Take away 2 of his. And all that's going to happen, if we follow that pattern, if a man and a man and a woman became the ultimate, most basic level of what family was, forget all the other